Heidi! Yes, I cut myself short. Those of you who grew up watching a certain cartoon know what I was alluding to there. Heidi, and then I would follow it by gang, but I'm self-censoring because this show is a follow-up to the YouTube issues still ongoing, and copyright, trademark issues in general. Figured I should talk to you again about. If you recall from the original, which will be mentioned in the notes description here, linked to that, you could go back and check it out. But what was happening is I licensed through Pixabay Alex Grohl Stomping Rock 4 shots, a little snippet. And if you're a Newsmax viewer, you can hear that also in the background on some Newsmax related things. Now, I would guess, but you know what they say about assumptions, right? Making an assumption there that they also properly licensed it for use on the TV. I mean, they got tons of bucks. I sure don't. They better have been licensing it, or they're in copyright infringement trouble. But the issue here is, you may have noted before, and a couple of my videos may have sections that have been altered or muted out entirely because someone is claiming that I am violating their copyright. Well, let me back this up. When you upload to YouTube, as I explained before, it goes through a copyright check. The problem here is that YouTube is apparently misidentifying the song I am using. In my show, I've added to the intro and the outro so that, you know, as I say, no muss, no fuss, high production stuff will come later. Well, that was something very simple I could do to update and enhance the show at least a little bit. Okay, make it a little more like the regular, more high production shows with the underlying music to back all the stuff they've got going on. I'm not getting into all that high production stuff anytime soon. One, because I can't afford it. I'm on disability. But the point of this is that YouTube claims that the Alex Grohl song, at least part, is somebody else's song. And no, I'm not even going to bother to mention what they think it is and who they think it is. But the issue here is, as I've said before, you cannot get a hold of YouTube. And their notices they send are from an email that you can't reply to. And they don't even care that their system is misidentifying. I can't get a hold of anyone to let them know. All they do is then send my dispute to the person they believe their copyright is in violation of, and then it is up to that person to either release any claim or continue claiming that their product has been violated. Well, indeed, it happened again the other day. It seems like 4 out of every 5 episodes now I upload perfectly fine. The exact same intro and outro with zero claim of copyright problem at all. But that 5th one out of 5, at least so far in the pattern, they claim this person's song, tune, whatever, I assume it's instrumental like Alex Grohl's Stomping Rock 4 Shots is, but that they claim belongs to him, and I may be infringing his copyright, and therefore they send it to him to deal with. And his response apparently so far has been he refuses to release any claim. So I'm resorting to this. And I know something about copyright and trademark because, of course, you see the little TM there. ChristiTutionalist is trademark. Now, that's an important point. You can trademark a word or a short phrase. You cannot copyright it. Now, obviously, I am concerned about copyright, and I don't like the notion of any infringement where actual infringement may be. As you can see, I toggled my background, right? I got to point the reverse video. So which way have I got to point here? Okay. As you can see, obviously, as author of books, I am indeed concerned about copyright law and trademark law and any potential infringements. Because, of course, and you can see I changed the background back. Because, of course, I have my own copyrights to be concerned about protecting, my own trademark to be concerned about protecting, but also my father, Thaddeus M. Lenard Jr., aka Ted Leonard Jr., creator of Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings. I would include one of his songs at the end of this, but as you can see, I'm tentative about doing anything for fear of YouTube being triggered with another false flagging of a copyright. But getting to the point here, others, of course, have been involved with this. The courts have been involved in the past regarding copyright versus trademark and whether something's covered or not. Taylor Swift currently involved in all kinds of lawsuits. I could share my screen and a story or two regarding it, but, I don't even want to get into the fair use law and the court inconsistencies on upholding that or not. To show you the papers, there is a Reddit article. Currently, of course, the Swifties are making a big deal of Swift being sued and claiming that others are targeting her just because of her success to this point. I apologize. I have to tamp down my green screen there. See the little flakiness going on there. And now the corner's messed up. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be one of those days. At any rate, Taylor Swift, let me take a drink here first. Very dry. Very dry. Yeah, a little behind the scenes, TMI. Yeah, just plain pure water because, the dentist. Stop drinking pop. Okay, I'm drinking water, okay? At any rate, Swift is being sued by various people. Well, before Swift and her Shake song, which that's all I'm going to say, you know what I'm talking about. There's players, haters, well, there was an Eric Church song before Swift's song that has the same line. Players, haters, regulators, Eric Church, The Outsiders. You could check it out for yourself. So he was sued. And I had trouble finding that article today to find the resolution. But if I recall correctly, when I looked this up before, because I was curious. It was the first I heard of a group called 3LW, who have a song called Players Gun, not gonna, gun apostrophe, right? Players Gun, you know the other word. Well, Eric Church was sued by them for the players, haters, that is in the three, or like thereof, similarity in the 3LW Players Gun song. And if I recall correctly, they were smacked down and said, no, because you did not trademark that phrase. It is just part of a song, and you did not trademark the title of the album. Under copyright, you can't claim permanent control over that sub-phrase of the song. Also, the courts have dealt with, and aside, snippets of music, right? You may recall, who was it? Oh, I don't remember the guy who did Steal Away, was temporarily sued, but then they withdrew the suit, I believe, if I'm correct. Again, you can look these things up if you want to research further. The Doobie, not Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, right? Because Steal Away sounds exactly like something else that Michael McDonald did. I don't remember the tune. I'm sorry, but you could probably Google Steal Away lawsuit and it'll come up, or Steal Away dispute. So a couple bars of a song has generally been upheld here and there as, you know, you copyright the whole thing. You can't copyright notes, right? I can't record a tune that the whole thing is the C chord and copyright it, and then try to sue everyone else on the planet that uses the C chord going forward because I copyright the song and then maybe trademark the title and whatnot. That's not how it works. It can't work that way, or obviously that would be going on. There would be no more music. If you had to invent your own new chords each and every time you did a new song. So that's copyrightish in a nutshell, and how the courts have been acting. And I mentioned my dad, the Polka Kings. He indeed at one time sued someone regarding copyright infringement and won his case. That's a whole other story, not worth going into, but the point being, I've been there, I've lived it, I know about these things, I understand it. And the differentiations and distinctions that the courts sometimes go back and forth on. And you would think is settled law for the most part, but not always. So Swift and her song, Eric Church and his song, 3LW, who I'd never heard of before, and my apologies to Eric Church, because when I used to say The Outsiders was Charlie Daniels' band, because I don't know, am I the only one, or does that song, him singing it, especially that chorus, sound to you like Charlie Daniels? And yet the estate of Charlie Daniels isn't trying to sue Eric Church for sounding like him, violating his sound, his copyright, his trademark on his voice. Again, don't work that way. But there is a Reddit piece, I will link to that in the description, and Starbuck0304, again, this is that person, don't know that person, don't, whatever, says Puff Daddy and Notorious B.I.G. coined the phrase in 1997 before all the others. Now, I don't know the legitimacy of that claim. The point being here is also they go on to say in 2010, the Urban Dictionary listed it as a common phrase, which makes it public domain if indeed that were to be upheld as it indeed a common phrase. Like Lady Gaga cannot be sued over her, or as I call her jokingly, Lady Gag Me, because yes, no, I'm not a fan, but Poker Face is a brilliant tune. Now, can she be sued by some gambler family from the 1800s who may have originally first used the term poker face? No, because it's not trademarked. You can't copyright that. But that isn't stopping others, of course, since Taylor Swift has very deep pockets, from suing her over this phrase that's been used by like a dozen different people in some way, shape, or form. Gun, apostrophe, or gonna, and playa, player, playas, different variations on that theme. But I've said all that. I apologize. I got to drink again. I'm very dry this morning. I said all that to finally get to this point, and I apologize. It's taken 18 minutes to actually get into the follow-up point. YouTube claiming that I might be using a bar or two of somebody's song and sending that to the person who claims they own that bar or two. But the dispute isn't with me. I licensed it. If there is any similarity between that person's song and the song that I have legally licensed for use, his dispute is not with me. It is with the person whose tune I licensed. I didn't write it. I didn't record it. I'm not claiming ownership of it. I'm not infringing their copyright. If there is any, that's for a court to decide. That is for that person to sue the other person in court over whether these few bars constitute an infringement or not. And I can't even give you my opinion on it because I've not heard the other person's tune. And I don't intend to listen to the other person's tune. I don't care. That is, again, between them and them, not me, and not even YouTube, though YouTube keeps inserting itself improperly in this and refuses to deal with any of it. They just pass it along to that person A who claims an infringement, whether, in my opinion, as I have licensed the song and I've told them over and over and over again, this is whom I've licensed it from. This is the song. This is what's in there. If you have a complaint, you need to file it with Alex Grohl and settle that. And then if there's an issue, the court must decide. But back to copyright, trademark in general. You've all seen, right, the TV ads. There's the C in the circle for copyright. There's the R in the circle for registered, usually means trademark. Also the TM, like you if I could get the pointing right again, I think it's reverse screen, so I'm all thrown off here on the video. A trademark, as I have trademark ChristiTutionalist. See it all the time. A fast food chain's whatever trademark or R registered. We registered this phrase you can't use it in your ads because we've got it trademarked. Okay, all right. I hope that I've explained this enough. And yes, I am whining, moaning, and complaining because I am in the middle of all this now when I should not be. The complaint is not with, should not be with, cannot be with, in my opinion, me. If there is any question of copyright infringement, I didn't write it. I didn't record it. I licensed the use thereof. Your complaint is with the person who claims it's their song that I'm using, that you claim at least part of may or may not have been stolen from you. And again, that's for a court to decide. It's not for YouTube to be meddling with and censoring and editing my videos. Now, I have taken a few steps to cut, trim just a hair here and there to hopefully get it past the copyright check from now on and not trigger this supposed violation once every 5 videos. Again, once every 5 videos. If I were using a minute and a half of somebody's song, I would indeed expect that YouTube would, could, should properly identify the correct song or the issue of who indeed has the copyright over it. But in my opinion, again, I'm using a song that I got licensed via Pixabay from someone claiming copyright of it, and I am using with permission under license, but yet YouTube keeps triggering and saying it's so-and-so's song or part of his song. You know, the longer the sample, the more accurate it would be, of course. Now, why I think it's an issue of 1 or 2 bars is because, as I said, 4 of 5 times, there's no copyright trigger. So it's inconsistent. It's not even noticing 4 of 5 times, or 80% of the time. Only 20% of the time it thinks. The AI misidentifies, in my opinion, that there might be a violation, and all this hassle I am now going through and why I'm here explaining it to you. And if you're still here with me 24 minutes in on this rant and rave, but you know, I put up behind the scenes sneak peek videos. It would be the only reason you're probably watching this video, to find out what's going on indeed with those BTS SP videos. Again, 4 out of 5 times of late since I've made the adjustment to update the intro and outro with some background music to try and make the show a little more professional quality while not going overboard. As I said, I have no interest in all the highfalutin, high production, fancy stuff. This is just me from my living room. You know, I lift up the green screen. Yeah, there's my ugly couch with, I'm not a hoarder, but I am a slob, and there's stuff all over it. And I use the green screen because it's quick, it's cheap, it's easy, and a very basic background image is the word I'm looking for, background image to overlay over it. And, you know, since my books, I go on other shows to discuss my books. I also go on other shows to discuss politics. I will be with Rick Walker the night of the election on Maverick News. If you want to tune in on that, tune in for that election night coverage over the night of the election, Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Throw the date in there just in case if somebody's watching this at some odd time later. So I'm on other shows, so I do the quick green screen that, hey, I bought from Michael's. You know, the home craft people. This is just green material that works as a green screen because I'm on disability, don't have money to throw around. So rather than buying a professional green screen, I went to Michael's and bought some green material that I'm using. I have to cut corners. Part of the no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest. But yeah, now I'm dropping guests every Wednesday, monologues on Saturdays. So at any rate, let's wrap this up. I think I've rambled enough. Check the description for that Reddit article and the link to the other YouTube video. I think I'll probably even link or make a reference to Eric Church's The Outsiders, because everybody knows the Swift song that's involved in all this. They may not know the Eric Church song. And then also you can look up 3LW. Again, I've never heard of them before. And I'm sorry. I don't mean that as a disrespect to you. It's just, I just didn't happen to ever hear of you or that album or that song that became issue to sue Eric Church over. And now others, all kinds of people suing Taylor Swift. I don't know if 3LW is indeed one of the ones. If anyone has a claim, it would be 3LW again, or if indeed, let me check my note again, Starbuck 0304. I've not done the research on this. I've not dug any deeper down the rabbit hole. If that person is correct, that Puff Daddy and Notorious B.I.G. in 97 were the first to do it. And to be honest, I doubt it. I'm sure if you dig hard enough and deep enough, you can find somebody somewhere that said it before 1997. Creative people can come up with sometimes similar things. It is then up to the courts to decide whether enough of something has been used to potentially infringe somebody else's copyright. And you can look up copyright infringement cases and you'll probably see umpteen million different versions of articles on such over the years, ever since the beginning of music. There's copyright. Copyrights do expire. The law was changed to make the copyright last longer. You have to renew it. And there's also things that enter public domain, like It's a Wonderful Life. Copyright there. Ted Turner colorized it, and you see his version over and over. Or it's also why you see It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas. The copyright had expired on it and not renewed. So it is now in the public domain, and anyone can show it without need to license the playing thereof. So I apologize for going 30 minutes as I have, but you know me, rabbit holes open. And indeed, I want to be detailed. It's like the issues with my thelibertybeacon.com articles at times. I keep getting yelled at. You know, we really only want 800 to 1200 word count. And mine, on average, are like 1500 word count. Sometimes 2,000 word count, because I believe in actually giving you the details. Now, I've given you only snippets of details that you can now further research, but I want to give you the facts as they lie, and like a real journalist, kind of presenting both sides here of that copyright dispute and the ongoing other disputes, to let you decide whether you want to dig deeper on these things, and you decide who is in the right or the wrong, if anybody, in those cases of copyright questions. Okay, thank you all. I'm going to actually stop rambling now because my mouth is so dry again. I got to go get another bottle of water. Thank you all for tuning into this, especially if indeed you have made it to the end here. Thank you all. As I said, this is me. I'm me. I'm not pretending to be anybody else except, well, I'm Savaged and Filter as Jokester Joe and Shockcaster, the term I created also that Michael Gardner, Savaged Unfiltered, uses. You know, it makes sense. A shock jock, right? Well, these are the days of podcasters. So I invented Shockcaster. And indeed, Michael has a licensed shirt that he sells about us being a shockcaster. So yeah, I kind of put on a different hat. On my show, Christian show, obviously, I try to keep things toned down a bit. There, my other kind of part personality comes out, and yeah, I get a little more rude, a little more crude, and shocking at times, and that's the point. Right? That's a different show, though. Thank you all. Take care. God bless.